Now, these sanctioning bodies are kind of goofy, but at the same time, I do support what they're doing as far as, like, in 2014 and 2015, and this part of 2015, we've been seeing the most mandatories being granted since I've been a boxing fan, to be perfectly honest with you. So when you look at the WBA, when you look at the IBF and the WBC, they've had three meetings in 2014, basically wanting to make unified champions, wanting to get back to making undisputed champions and not getting in each other's way. Now, together they have different interests, but at the same time, they all working together. Now, let me explain to you, for example. You got right now Cobra Froch, who has been ordered to defend been ordered to take on Andre Ward, a fighter who he lost to back in, 2011, I believe it was, or 2012. I believe it was 2011. So when you look at the fact that he's supposed to be taking on Andre Ward, and if he does not, or if they don't come to an agreement, then Cobra Froch will be stripped. But at the same time, Andre Ward has the recognized, or what fans call the real WBA belt, which is the WBA Super World. And if you don't know how it works, you got the WBA Super World, you got the WBA World, or what is sometimes called the regular. Then below that, you got the WBA Interim. But what we've been seeing is that, for example, right? Now, let me point this shit out to you. You got Guillermo Rigondeaux, who's the WBA Super World, Scott Quigg, WBA World Regular. Will they order that fight? You got Floyd Mayweather, who's the WBA Super World at 154, and you got Aries Lindy Lara, who's the WBA Regular World. Will they order that fight? You see what I'm saying? You got who else? What division? Oh, you got Danny Garcia, who's the WBA Super World. You got Jose Benavidez, who's now, after a robbery win over Mauricio Herrera, the WBA World. And I don't know, it just none of it makes any sense anymore. So, like I said, I'm supporting what the WBA and the IBF and the WBC is doing, especially the IBF, because they are stripping people. And then when it comes to the WBC leading the pack, the WBC has been working with fighters to the point where they'll order a mandatory. But if you choose to pay the fighter to step aside, somewhat of a situation with Danny Garcia versus Victor Postol, what they'll do is they'll work out. They'll go for an agreement with, okay, we'll let you keep your belt and let you defend it against somebody else, but you got to give him a title shot or allow him to fight on the undercard. For example, the WBC wanted Mayweather versus Pacquiao so bad that they said, we're going to make Manny Pacquiao the #1 contender to Floyd Mayweather's WBC 147-pound title. And if Floyd doesn't fight him, he has to vacate. But the reason why they did that is because they wanted to fight. But also, Manny Pacquiao went on to fight Timothy Bradley for the WBO, which basically took him out of that #1 spot with the WBC. And the only people that are, the only organization that is out of the loop right now when it comes to that is the WBO. The WBO was offered to be involved in these meetings with the IBF, WBC, and the WBA, but they declined, 2 times from my understanding. So with this WBA thing, I understand that it's a big fight. And if I'm correct, we were hearing rumors that Mikhail Kessler and Andre Ward were working on the fight. We don't know, where that is. If you don't know, Andre Ward is with Rock Nation. He's with Jay-Z. They were formerly, meaning Rock Nation and Gary Shaw were in a very, very short merger, but things didn't work out. That would have helped Rock Nation and Andre Ward so much. But to whereas and now Andre Ward is kind of like, by himself. Now, Andre Ward still can get big fights because he's not affected by the politics unless it's involving Al Heyman fighters, of course. But when you look at the Cobra Froch versus Andre Ward fight, perfectly makeable. But Andre Ward doesn't bring in any money. You got Cobra Froch who's fighting in front of 70,000 plus. Andre Ward, who, is not, quote unquote Eddie Hearn, he can't sell out his living room in Oakland. So I'm a Cobra Froch fan, and I'm put it this way, I'm for the unification, and I'm for the WBA moving towards having one main belt. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, well, you got to be fair. Start ordering some of these other I better start seeing some other mandatories too, because I remember I did a video not too long ago saying the WBA don't even be ordering mandatories. Now all of a sudden they ordered like 3 mandatories. For example, you got Lucas Brown, WBA just ordered Carl Froch, and it was one more over the last couple of weeks. But I look at it like this. Will Carl Froch vacate? Most likely. Does Carl Froch want to fight Andre Ward again? I do not think so. Does he want to avenge that loss? Yes. But does he want to fight him again? No, I do not think so. Would it be beneficial for Carl Froch's career to fight Andre Ward again? On paper, yes. Financially, no. And then you got that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight right there. You know, after like it's there. We can see we see now that Al Heyman could make. Oh, by the way, thank you, Al Heyman. Thank you, Al Heyman. Thank you so much. You got Al Heyman able to maneuver to get Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. another fight. He's fighting from far outside of his top rank obligation. So I have a lot more faith that Carl Froch versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. can happen. So I say this, go ahead, drop that, WBA regular world belt. It's not the real one anyway. And then just wait it out for Chavez Jr. And then after that, maybe fight on Andre Ward. But if he does fight Andre Ward right now, who knows? Maybe he might be able to beat Andre Ward because Andre Ward's lack of or Andre Ward's inactivity, if that makes sense. But I understand it's a little bit far-fetched. But what I want you to do is, I guess the point of the video is, I want the WBA to be a little bit fair because it seems like, the IBF didn't strip him. Y'all made him fight 2 mandatories basically against, no, actually, I'm trying to figure out, I keep forgetting this. Was George Groves the mandatory for the first Carl Froch fight? I know they made the second one, but was he mandatory for the first one? And I'm thinking, my God, the man sold 70,000 seats. Why you're picking on him? That's just my own personal opinion. But it's like this. I do want to see, it looks like they're picking on him. Because right now, like within 2 months, he about to get 2 belts stripped. So, my own personal opinion, of course. T-Street Controversy for RealCombatMedia.com. I cover every single major fight live. Go down below is a link to Be Real TV on YouTube. It has some nice, good, informative UK interviews. Also an interview with Carl Froch. Once again, Major Fight Live. I will also, if you don't know, Carl Froch is nursing an elbow injury that he's had for quite some time. That's a whole different story. And also, remember, Carl Froch was supposed to be fighting James DeGale. Then it's a crazy situation. But I'm Team Froch. I'm supporting what he's doing because I feel he's earned it. Look at the man's resume. And then you're stripping the man of his belts. It doesn't make sense to me. T-Street Controversy Live.